Arthur just got Alice's death certificate and immediately took back every share she owned. Then he rushed straight to the government office to erase her identity, wiped her completely off the map. Arthur moved that fast for one reason. He knew Alice wasn't dead. This whole thing was a setup, Alice faking her death to run away with her lover with help from her sisters Wendy and Sarah. In his past life, Arthur fell for every word, handed over Alice's shares to Wendy and Sarah after she quote-unquote died, never remarried out of loyalty to her, and didn't learn the truth until he was old. The shock and grief destroyed him. He collapsed and died. Then Arthur woke up and found himself back at the exact moment Alice faked her death off that cliff. Wendy and Sarah were already running the same play, showing up with a transfer agreement trying to get Alice's shares for themselves. Arthur remembered everything from his past life. This time all three of them were going to pay. So he looked them dead in the eye and said, Alice is dead. Every share she held goes back to the company. Then he called his assistant over, told him to get the paperwork ready and cancel Alice's identity right now. Wendy and Sarah froze. Then they snapped, those shares belong to us. Arthur didn't even look at them, walked straight out of the room without a word. He headed to the office and started the process to erase Alice's identity. The clerk was seconds away from stamping it official when Wendy and Sarah came sprinting in, ordering Arthur to stop like they had any authority here. Arthur almost laughed. These three sisters his father pulled them out of an orphanage. Arthur treated them like real family, and they played him like a fool. Now they were still standing here talking to him like that. Arthur went ice cold, told them to know their place. They backed down, didn't like it, but they backed down. Arthur handed the documents to the clerk right in front of them. They could only watch as Alice's identity got wiped out. Arthur was heading out when it happened. Wendy's phone rang. Alice on the other end. Turns out Alice's identity was already gone and she was stuck at the boarding gate, couldn't leave the country. Arthur heard every word and couldn't hide the satisfaction. Wendy told Alice to stay calm, said they'd figure something out. Then she rushed over to Arthur. Before she could say a word, Arthur hit first, told them he was putting out a public announcement Alice is dead, and he was already setting up dates with someone new. Wendy and Sarah completely lost it. Wendy started going off, calling him heartless. Arthur didn't let her finish, slapped her across the face, told her his decisions were none of their business. Seeing how dead serious he was, Wendy and Sarah actually convinced themselves Arthur was just trying to pressure them into marrying him, declared there was zero chance they'd ever marry Arthur, and stormed off. Then Arthur's father heard he was going on a date and immediately pushed forward his own pick. Arthur opened the envelope. Emma Jung, the eldest daughter of the Jung family. In his past life, Arthur stayed loyal to Alice's memory, so Emma never married either. She spent her whole life quietly taking care of him. Arthur made up his mind this life he was going to make it right for her. The day Emma came back to the country arrived fast. Arthur went to the airport to pick her up, and that's when Alice suddenly appeared right in front of him. Arthur looked at her and said, well, look at that, Alice is still alive. Alice's lover Mark snapped at Arthur for being rude. Arthur hit back hard. Mark was his driver, and he had the nerve to talk to him like that. Alice jumped in defending Mark, said Mark was the one who saved her life, then turned around asking Arthur how he could disrespect her savior like that. They had a whole new story ready. Alice survived the fall off the cliff but hit her head and lost her memory. The only person she remembered was Mark, the man who saved her, and now Mark was apparently a hero of the Chu family. Mark leaned into it, told Arthur to get him a room. Without waiting for an answer, Alice grabbed Mark's arm and walked them inside. Arthur signaled his men to block them. Alice had the audacity to say, sure, she couldn't remember who Arthur was, but he was still technically her husband, which made Mark the savior of them both. Said Arthur acting cold was disrespecting her and disrespecting Mark. Arthur watched her perform, had to admit the girl could act. If he hadn't lived through this once already, he might have actually bought it and rolled out the red carpet for Mark. Time to make sure they understood how this was going to go. Arthur made one thing crystal clear: he was the one